Alright, so new update. We've taken a few of the transmission bolts out. So far we've taken out 6. I need to quickly double check how many bolts there are in total around the transmission. That'll let me know how far I need to dig in there and look around for them. It's not too difficult because the subframe has been taken off, so the transmission kind of sags a little bit. But as soon as I find those top bolts, I'm going to have to put the subframe on, or at least put a jack under the transmission to support it. Because as soon as I take out the last 2 or even the last 1 bolt, it's going to want to come off, or it's going to be coming off. So you got to be careful you don't put too much damage on the main drive line or the drive shaft. So had a lot of success with this. It was a little annoying, but we got there. We got the slave cylinder off. We disconnected the hydraulic line from the hard line, which we now have out. And this is kind of how the thing wraps around into the car. So it sits in there and then kind of snakes all the way down over here. So it's yeah, it kind of looks like that actually. So it's lots of, when you're taking it out, it's a lot of grabbing this part here, pulling this way, and trying to bend this part and just grabbing it further and further, and then kind of pulling this around, bending it, and then down and out. I was just going to pull it all the way through while it was still connected to the hydraulic line, which was connected to this end here. I was going to pull the whole thing out from this end, but the slave cylinder was becoming too difficult to maneuver. So this is what you'll need to remove or disconnect the two. This is a 7/16 wrench, and you basically put that on the end of this, or sorry, not this end, which connects to your slave cylinder hydraulic line. That connects up there like that, and then you loosen it. This will thread out from the end of the hydraulic line. You take this off, move it to the side, and then instead of continuing to pull this out of the car and removing this bit last, you have to push it back up around into the car and maneuver this end out the top of the little metal bracket in there, because this end here will not fit because of this larger diameter, I guess you'd call it, but this end can fit through the small little bracket. So I don't think I'm going to be doing or putting this in the bracket when I put it in the automatic. I don't even know if the automatic has that little metal bracket. It's just welded onto the actual, like, the body of the car. So if that's not there, zip ties will do, and zip tie it to some wiring harness bits and whatever. But yeah, you can use the 7/16 wrench on there and then attach some vice grips, just like that, to this bit, like so. And then you just lock that in, let that sit there because it can't really move a lot when it's under there. So you leave that there, put the wrench on, loosen it. It's not even that difficult of a thing to get off. I'm at the point now with the transmission bolts where I don't know exactly how many more I need to remove. I'm having a lot of success removing these though. None of the heads are stripping. I'm finding a lot of success in it. I'll show you the kind of what I'm using to get these out, because just putting your wrench in there will not fit. Where is it? Right here. Okay. So this is kind of the contraption you need going on. So you need a couple extensions. Just get a whole bunch of them. Get some shorter ones, get some longer ones, get them in 3/8 size, get them in 1 1/2-inch drive. You'll need a 1/2-inch drive wrench and some 1/2-inch drive breaker bars. I have a really big one to first break them off, and I have a little smaller one for some of the other bolts. So you will have I knocked this over. This is an E14 Torx. You see that fits in there like that. Pretty snug. There's also some what are these? There's some E10s, and then there's also some E12s further up on the upper bolt housing. E10s are for the... Oh, it's going to rain now. E10s are the lower belt housing. E12s are the upper belt housing. And then some of these big E14s, these are for like the starter, which I still have yet to find. It's on that side of the car. And yeah, I have still yet to disconnect that, but there's very, very little room in there to work with. One of these is what you'll also need, a set of swivel joints. This helps because what you can do is this whole thing is basically going to be going down the length of the transmission, and then this is going to sit about where your drive shaft was. And you're basically going to put your breaker bar on the end of that, and then push this up into the area where the drive shaft was, and you're just going to brake it. And then, yeah, basically just put one of these on there and wrench it off the rest of the way. They're very, very easy. They're not torqued on very tight at all. The E14s are a little more difficult. You need some muscle, but it's a lot easier than the drive shaft bolts. If you can get the drive shaft bolts out, then you can do this no problem. So yeah, get a little set of swivels. I got a set which was right here. You got a 1/2 inch dry swivel. You have a 1/4 inch swivel, and then you have here. Oh yeah, it's gonna rain now. Okay. I guess I'll take this opportunity to go into my car and show you a little bit of the electronics of the job, because a couple questions that we don't think of that come up is, oh, what if I put it in reverse, right? Or my car will start in park and it'll start in neutral, but when all this is gone, how is the car going to know if it's in park or neutral? Because you're just going to be in gear, or you're going to be in neutral all the time, and this electronically can't communicate with the transmission on the other computers that are going on. So the way you get around that is you pop this up. Really easy to do that. This yellow kind of plastic housing thing here, in here, this is basically a metal band just between the plastic bits there. And when you slide your gear shifter between gears, the metal pin rubs against the metal ring and it knows what gear it's in. So what you do is you remove the shifter handle and then this beam that connects to it. You leave the little metal thing on this plastic. You remove this so that it's not in your way of your stick shift. You push this off to the side, you slide that all the way up so it knows it's in park. A light's going to be on in your dash. I forget which one it is, but we'll get to that stage later with videos. And basically your car will always think it's in park, so a light will be on. All you have to do to fix that is remove the bulb from the gauge cluster. I might do that, I might not. It all just depends how much it's annoying me and how, little nitpicky things like that. Also, reverse. Instead of clicking it one down and your reverse light's coming on, now you're going to be slapping it over and then up for reverse on the E36 transmission. So the way you get around that is, well, I don't really know. There's a little bit of wiring you have to do. I think you have to splice 2 cables to 2 cables, and then you're pretty much good, and the car just knows what to do from there. I still need to research that a little bit more specific to an E36 on what exactly you do, but alright. I'm probably ranting. I think that's all I'm going to do for today. Got a couple more bolts off, got the slave cylinder out, which is huge. All I have to focus on now is getting the rest of the bolts off, sliding it off, getting the flywheel, clutch, and pressure plate off, and then I have to look into finding out how to get the pilot bearing out. I know there's ways you can get it out, but it's so cheap to rent. Just a little puller tool, get the pilot bearing out, and then that'll probably be the first thing to come in to the new car once everything's out, is pilot bearing, and then you do flywheel, clutch, pressure plate, transmission, bolt the transmission up, put all the sensors, connect it, make sure this is lined up in here, boots and everything. Drive shaft goes on, and then yeah, make sure you put your exhaust back on, all your heat shields, everything, and then it's a very, very simple job. It just takes a couple guys and a bit of time. But anyways, thanks for watching part 2. I'll be back at it probably later this week when it's not raining, and we'll see how it goes. All right, thanks for watching. Bye.